CVille Show, guys. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us on a Monday afternoon in downtown Charlottesville. I hope the weekend treated you well. For Virginia sports fans, what a weekend it was. Virginia dazzles in Durham. The Wahoo football team absolutely dominant against the Duke Blue Devils. And I want you to consider this, and I'll offer a did you know from this weekend. Duke's starting quarterback is on a 2-year NIL contract to be the gunslinger of the Blue Devils. And did you know that the Duke quarterback is making $8 million over 2 years, $4 million a year? He was in a lot of recruiting rankings and services, the top transfer portal target going into this football year was the Duke quarterback, and he garnered an $8 million 2-year contract to lead Manny Diaz's football team in Durham. And goodness gracious, did Chandler Morris outplay the Duke quarterback? Chandler, a 6-year at the University of Virginia. He's just a few days younger than Jaden Daniels, the banged-up quarterback for the Washington Commanders. Chandler Morris earning about $1.3 million a year. The Duke quarterback, $4 million a year, 2-year contract, $8 million, and guaranteed compensation with some bonus money also associated with the contract. And Chandler absolutely outplayed the Duke quarterback, and Virginia finds itself in the driver's seat for an ACC championship appearance. And just a few hours before kickoff, the basketball team dismantled Marshall. I'm going to try to answer this question. Can you as a fan base remember a time where the football and basketball team look this damn good at the same time? Look, we've had national championships with Tony Bennett. We've had one double-digit win season when Sean Moore and Herman Moore and Terry Kirby and George Welsh were here in Charlottesville. This was a long time ago with the football program. But can you think of a time where the football team and the basketball team were this dominant at the same time? And I know it's early for basketball, but they got talent all over this roster, paid talent. I mean, your top scorer and DeRitter is 22 years old, and he's a freshman. He's a first-year, a 22-year-old first-year who chose not to go to the NBA draft where he was going to be a second-round pick potentially, instead chose to enroll at the University of Virginia because he's paid more money, ladies and gentlemen, to play on the basketball team in Charlottesville than he would earn as a professional basketball player across the pond in Europe or someone that potentially is jumping from the G League to the NBA. A lot to cover on the show. I'm going to talk Dino Hoxhaj.
Close.
You want to help me with that last name? I just call him Dino and give him a bear hug every time I see him. Are you on a 2-shot over there?
Not yet.
You want to help me with that last name?
I'm not 100% sure either. I think it's Hoxhaj, but I could be off on that. It's been a while.
Our good buddy Dino, who is the mayor of Dairy Market, he's the Duke of Dairy Market. Let's cut to the chase. If there's no Dino, there really probably is no Dairy Market. And someone text Dino, direct message Dino, give him a little nudge and let him know we're giving him some props. If there is no Dino, there is no Dairy Market. The guy has got Moo Through. He's got Dino's wood-fired pizza, rotisserie chicken. He's got the Basta Pasta Judah, Dino does. He's got an ownership stake Dino does in the Cumbre Bakery. That's at Dairy Market. I do not believe he's a part of the Cumbre over in the downtown area, the old barber shop. But the Dairy Market one, he's got an ownership stake in. And he's expanding his real estate empire. He's got a pizzeria in Fluvanna County, and he's now expanded, ladies and gentlemen, to Greene County, where Dino is taking over the lease for an embattled restaurateur, Miranda of Miranda's Grill, who had to close her location in Greene County because of a failure to pay meals taxes. The Greene County government said, dude, you're not going to stay open and run this business if you're not going to pay meals taxes. Her name's Miranda Durr Davis. She had to shut her doors down. Dino's going to take over the spot. And goodness gracious, I think he's primed for some big-time success there. That market is booming. I'm going to ask you, the viewer and listener, this question. Who can rattle off restaurant owners locally that are expanding, and what is one of the most challenging food and beverage climates in a long time is right now? You've had some challenging ones without question. The pandemic, especially early on, was challenging for food and beverage. A lot of the closings we're seeing happening now is because of debt that was accrued during the pandemic, whether it was mortgages taken out against houses, floating loan debt, whether it was hard money lending. A lot of folks got caught in that mousetrap of debt with the pandemic just for survival. Dino, Kit Ashy, Annie McClure, three off the top of my head, that are literally, it seems to me, the only restaurant owners that are expanding right now in this tough climate. I want to unpack that topic with you, the viewer and listener, unpack that topic with you, Judah Wickhauer, and I'm going to ask you, the viewer and listener, who are the most prolific restaurateurs now as we head into 2026? Stefan Friedman is certainly off that list. Stefan, I've been told through the grapevine that you caught wind of us chastising you for empty storefronts about a week ago. And I will stand by my commentary, Stefan Friedman. Your empty storefronts, Little John's, Bonnie and Reed. Your empty storefronts, Stefan Friedman, Draft Tap Room. Your empty storefronts, Stefan Friedman, the Old Metropolitan Hall event space. One of his restaurants, Ace Biscuit and Barbecue, caught fire over the weekend. Yeah. Did you see that on Harris?
Yeah, the patio.
Patio caught fire.
Yeah.
Bad luck for Ace Biscuit and Barbecue. Serves great food. Mm-hmm. They had an employee earlier this year vandalize the restaurant. And now the restaurant has caught fire. He's off that list of prolific restaurateurs, Stefan Friedman. We're going to talk about that on today's show. We're going to talk on today's show a timeline of events for the University of Virginia. I'm going to try to ask this question: who's to blame? Is there someone most to blame for what's going on at UVA? I want to get Judah's take on that. Does the blame start with Jim Ryan? Does the blame start with Rachel Sheridan, the rector? Does the blame start with Glenn Youngkin? Does the blame start with the Department of Justice? Does the blame start with the Trump administration? We'll have that question and that topic on the program. If you're watching the program, we ask nothing of you except you help us spread the gospel. Hit the like button, share the show, tag a friend, and let them know the I Love CVille show is on air. Only thing we ask of you. Janice Boyce Trevelyan, thank you for watching the program, and she's exactly right. Dino is at Unionville and Patch and Orange as well. Annie's got a pizzeria in Fluvanna. Dude is expanding left and right. We're going to get to that in a matter of moments. Judah Wickhauer, I'd love to give some love to Conan Owen of Sir Speedy of Central Virginia. He is a Darden graduate. And Conan Owen is a fantastic resource for a business that's looking for visibility with their messaging or their logo. We utilize Conan Owen and Sir Speedy's services for our tenant portfolio. We have 24 doors, and their signage needs are being serviced by Conan Owen. So is our studio in downtown Charlottesville, which is the home to our brokerage, our investment company, and our firm. The signage, the vinyl that you see on our Market Street location done by Conan Owen, as is the banner directly behind me. If you have a logo and you need an application for it, he's who I would suggest you call. Locally owned and operated, Conan Owen in Sir Speedy of Central Virginia. Judah, a headline you find most intriguing today. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts, my friend.
Oh, the Jim Ryan and Rachel Sheridan competing letters is certainly compelling, as is the entire soap opera / drama surrounding UVA and Jim Ryan's resignation.
I guess help me understand this. Over the last week, okay? Here's how I see it over the last week. On November 13th, Abigail Spanberger, the governor-elect, she instructs the Board of Visitors.
I think that was the 12th.
November 12th. Thank you. She instructs the Board of Visitors to refrain from choosing a president until Abigail Spanberger herself can appoint new board members. Abigail Spanberger, the governor-elect, first woman governor in Commonwealth history, female governor in Commonwealth history. She says on November 12th, which Judah Wickhauer, that would have been this past Wednesday, do not pick a president. I want my say. I'm a UVA grad, Abigail Spanberger, and I want my say as the governor of Virginia on who the next president is going to be. She tells the current board to stand down. Mm-hmm. The very next day, the 13th of November, this past Thursday, Governor Glenn Youngkin rips Abigail Spanberger. And he says, "What the hell are you doing, Abby? What are you doing, Abigail?
Yeah, you're overstepping your bounds.
You're not even in office, and you're trying to dictate policy and tempo for the Commonwealth and its flagship university. You can't do this. This is my board. They could do what they want, and if they want to pick a president, they're going to do it." Okay? That was this past Thursday. The intriguing storyline with Spanberger and Youngkin and their brouhaha was 48 hours after this media brouhaha. Within 48 hours of that media brouhaha, they were photographed together passing the proverbial torch and showing this like cross-aisle harmony and peace in what was a nasty Winston Earl Sears, Abigail Spanberger governor's race. So they show early last week a photo of peace, unification, and the passing of the governor's torch. Then almost the next day, Spanberger on record saying, "Don't pick the next president." The day after that, Youngkin rebukes and chastises Spanberger. Then we have a weekend of quiet as Virginians are digesting the governor-elect and the incumbent governor fighting over who has the power and influence.
Are we leaving out Rachel and Jim?
Oh, we're going to Rachel and Jim. You're right. It wasn't a weekend of peace. At the end of the week, then we had Rachel and Jim.
I think Rachel's letter.
She beat Jim Ryan.
I don't have the date for Rachel's letter.
No, it was Thursday.
I think it was Thursday.
It was Thursday, and Jim's came out Friday.
Yeah, his was. I think a response to everybody.
100%. I think Jim Ryan saved the TNT and the real dynamite till after Spanberger initially, came out with her call of BOV and don't hire the next president. Jim Ryan probably realized then Youngkin was going to tell Spanberger to stand down. And then Rachel Sheridan, the UVA rector, she releases her timeline of events that led to Jim Ryan's resignation, basically her "I'm not to blame here" message. And then Ryan closes the week this past Friday by releasing his 12-page letter. Since Ryan's 12-page letter...
even later on Friday, the UVA Faculty Senate met and passed a resolution basically saying that they have no confidence in the Board of Visitors and that they too want to pause the presidential search, and they would also like the resignations of the rector and vice rector, Rachel Sheridan and Porter Wilkinson.
Lower third's on screen because it's so much to keep up. I can barely keep up with this. For the viewers and listeners that are watching the show, put the lower third headlines on screen, and we should just rotate them around. So here we are on Monday, Judah. And on Monday, we're left asking these questions, or at least I am. I'm curious of the questions that you're asking. Questions that I'm asking are this. Why is the dysfunction in the soap opera and the in-university fighting at such tangible and palpable and significant levels? I'm wondering this question as well. Who's most to blame here? I'm wondering this question. Who's the puppeteer in the background dictating the pace and tempo? Who's the man or the woman that's throwing the gas and then lighting the match and then from afar like Mr. Burns? Kind of, what does Mr. Burns do with his fingers like this? What does he say? Excellent. Watching from afar as Homer and Moe and the guys at Moe's Tavern are fighting outside the tavern after having one too many. Who's Mr. Burns there going, excellent? Because it looks like, from my standpoint, that Rachel Sheridan certainly has egg on her face. Rachel Sheridan looks like she is on the cusp of being one of the most hated board members in UVA history. The only thing that's keeping Porter Wilkinson from that title is that she's the vice rector and all the heat is Rachel Sheridan. The best thing that ever happened for Porter Wilkinson on this board is that her bulletproof, her Teflon right now is Rachel Sheridan. You don't want to be Rachel Sheridan right now.
Yeah.
You don't want to be Rachel Sheridan. Okay. Jim Ryan even looks like he has egg on his face here. Does he not?
Yeah.
He looks like he's I don't want to use the word Weasley, but how would you characterize what you're seeing with Ryan in perception and appearance? I mean, he's definitely tattletelling. He's definitely like, oh, I got the skeletons in the closet and I'm airing the dirty laundry for everybody. I mean, without question, he's tattletelling here.
Yeah, he waited until everybody else got their stories out before saying, now hold on a second.
Yeah.
I've got a different story.
Right. Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, first of all, you have to gauge how well you believe any of these actors, whether you think any of them are capable of lying or prevaricating or shifting their narrative to make themselves look better. But really, it's without concrete evidence. It's mostly just a bunch of he said, she said. Here's my letter with my sequence of events, and here's this person's letter with their version of events, and it's really hard to make your way through them. It's a maze.
Jim Ryan, in his 12-page letter, and Deep Throat, I'm going to get your comment here in a matter of moments. I think your insight is often good. Jim Ryan, in his letter, his 12-page letter, one of the mistakes in Jim Ryan's 12-page letter, one of the mistakes, from my standpoint, was bringing Paul Manning into the conversation.
Yeah.
Jim Ryan, in his 12-page letter, almost threw Paul Manning under the bus.
He, as much as implies it.
He basically, in his 12-page letter, implies that Paul Manning, who is the 9-figure contributor to the Paul and Diane Manning Biotechnology School. Yeah. Paul Manning's a billionaire. Mm-hmm. He's on the board of visitors. He's legitimately a billionaire and one of the most influential and powerful people in this community. He's the money behind Dairy Market, okay? That's just one small example of his significant contribution. He's the $100+ million behind the biotechnology school, who led AstraZeneca to open a $4.5 billion facility in northern Albemarle County. When Mr. Manning was doing this 9-figure plus donation, before it was announced, I was told, and now I can speak about this now because it's news, before the 9-figure check was struck, I was told that this donation was coming and it was going to have a population impact of 6,000 to 8,000 people incremental moving into this area. And that's why since before COVID, I've been talking about the significance of biotechnology locally, because I had intel that a 9-figure donation was going to come, and that 9-figure donation that was coming from people that were at the table of receiving the donation were letting us know that 6,000 to 8,000 people, their estimation, were going to move here because of this biotechnology epicenter. To tarnish, to sully his name like Jim Ryan did, I can assure you that Mr. Manning awoke on Friday over his coffee, maybe at Cumbre Bakery at Dairy Market, and was reading this 12-page letter and said, why is Jim Ryan talking about a private lunch that I had with him? Why is Jim Ryan saying that I was his friend or he thought we were friends? And then why is Jim Ryan airing the dirty laundry of our conversation where I told him to retire or resign because he no longer had the support of the board? That cannot be good for the Hallmark Christmas card receiving list for Jim Ryan when Paul Manning is sending them out to many, many people in his network. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what did he say in his letter? I thought
he was my friend.
Thought he was my friend.
But really he wasn't.
I don't think he outright says that no, he wasn't.
But it's very much implied.
Yeah, it's very much implied that he was in the middle with Sheridan and Wilkinson in convincing him that the DOJ wanted him to resign, and that would be the end of UVA's problems, which it wasn't.
Now we're left with this, okay? And then I'm going to get to your comments. Deep Throat, we'll go with you first. Janice Boyce-Trevelyan, we'll go with you next. I have 2 local radio stations, a local newspaper, 1 local TV station watching the show, as do we have reporters from the paper in Richmond. We're left with this. We're nowhere closer to getting a president named.
No.
We're nowhere closer to getting these key positions that are filled by interim talent. The interim talent, we're nowhere close to having those positions filled by full-time talent. We're nowhere closer to having clarity with what 2026 is going to look like. We're nowhere closer to having closure.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if we ever will.
Rachel Sheridan, my advice to her is to probably offer her resignation before she's the second Board of Visitors member in UVA history to be fired from the board for malfeasance or malpractice. Rachel Sheridan, you're going to get fired by Abigail Spanberger. You already know this, Rachel Sheridan.
Yeah.
Professionally, you may want to resign before you're pink-slipped by Abigail Spanberger. Porter Wilkinson, you're the vice rector. You're probably going to get fired too by Abigail Spanberger.
You're next.
Porter Wilkinson, you may want to resign before Abigail Spanberger fires you. Jim Ryan, your next commentary to the community should be one that comes across less tattletale and less airing of secrets, including conversations you had in one-on-one fashion with powerful billionaires, where you basically threw him under the bus. And your next optics or strategy or PR play should be one that comes across as more victim.
I think it depends on what he wants to do.
I think Jim Ryan, what he's very concerned about right now is trying to shift the history books on what his legacy looks like once he's out of academia and 6 feet under. Someone like Jim Ryan is very mindful of his legacy, like a lot of academics are. And I think that 12-page letter was in some way his attempt to paper the trail of protecting, preserving, or repositioning his legacy.
Writing his own history.
Writing his own history. Perfect description, Judah. As opposed to having the Board of Visitors, Youngkin, Spanberger, DOJ write his history. Now, Deep Throat has made this comment, and I'm going to butcher her name. She is the United States Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division. Her name is it Harmeet Dillon?
Oh, yeah,
I mean, there's an H in the last name, which is throwing me off. I think Harmeet is right.
I think you'd just call it Dylan.
Okay, Harmeet Dillon. She's a Dartmouth University undergraduate. She's got her degree, her BA from Dartmouth College. She's got a JD from UVA Law School, and she is a power player. I mean, she's the one that's initiating a lot of the. She's the hammer for Trump with the DOJ. She's the hammer, the educational hammer with the DOJ that's trying to revamp what colleges and universities look like from most notably a diversity, equity, and inclusion standpoint. The interesting thing about Harmeet Dillon, are we going to go with Harmeet Dillon, Judah?
Yeah, I think so.
She was born in India. Her family first moved to London before eventually settling in the United States. She attended elementary school in the Bronx before moving with her family to Smithfield, North Carolina, where her father became part of a medical practice there. She is Indian, and someone that is far from white and American is Trump's hammer in destroying and dismantling diversity, equity, and inclusion at colleges and universities of higher learning. Deep Throat believes, and I don't think he's far off here, that she may be the puppeteer in the background. He says this, and you got me thinking over the weekend about your text, Deep Throat. So this was his from Friday, which I didn't have a chance to read because it came in after the show. He said, my 2 cents of the BOV stuff, when behavior suddenly changes, look for some other change that provoked it. The obvious one is Harmeet Dillon and Greg Brown at the DOJ. 2 UVA grads who stand in relation to their alma mater as I do to mine. They would love to play Rome to UVA's Carthage. Okay, maybe in reality their first choice is to change it to be ideologically balanced and non-woke. But failing that, just messing the place up is not a bad second choice for them. Dollars to donuts, he says, Dillon is the chess player moving the pieces. He also adds, if the BOV people were doing this on their own and wanted to be rid of Jim Ryan, they could just point to triple murder by an affirmative action admin who was reported to having a gun on campus, hiring a failure from Ohio State University to run the UVA health system, which opened the door to fraud charges, and pepper spraying protesters. There's 3 strikes and you're fired.
Yeah. I think I tend to agree. Nothing in any of these really makes me believe that that Sheridan was a Machiavellian, working behind the scenes, like moving people around, getting them to act against each other. I feel like she was just really kind of stuck.
Rachel Sheridan got screwed and used by Youngkin.
Yeah, no doubt.
Here's the analogy. Harmeet Dillon of the DOJ, Harmeet is to Donald Trump as Rachel Sheridan is to Glenn Youngkin. And the difference between Harmeet and Rachel Sheridan is Harmeet has true power. And Harmeet is much better of a behind-the-scenes puppeteer and has significantly more influence because she has the Department of Justice and the federal government behind her. Where Rachel Sheridan, all she has behind her was a governor who was in his last year of his term on his way out with a Virginia governance that was about to be dominated by the Democrats from the governor's mansion to delegates to the state senate and beyond.
Yeah.
Rachel Sheridan was like a lame duck coach. And a lame duck coach in football is like the head coach that's coaching on a contract that only has 1 year left. Or a lame duck coach is like a coach who is coaching without an the athletic director that hired him. The athletic director got fired, and he's now coaching with a new athletic director in place. Rachel Sheridan got used. She was unfortunately a pawn in a game of chess that was made to be a sacrificial lamb on this chessboard. And who the king is the king in this scenario Trump?
Potentially.
Is the queen in this scenario Harmeet Dillon? Is the knight in this scenario Glenn Youngkin? Is the other knight in this scenario Paul Manning? The pawns clearly are Rachel Sheridan and Porter Wilkinson.
Yeah.
What was Jim Ryan on the board? Is Jim Ryan a pawn on the other side of the board? And what damage does this do to UVA, if any? Does it do damage?
In the long run, I don't think it really does a whole lot of damage.
Does it do damage? I'll tell you who it doesn't do damage for. It doesn't do damage for Glenn Youngkin.
He didn't care.
It doesn't do damage for Abigail Spanberger. In fact, this is just going to make Abigail Spanberger, it's going to springboard her come her term in 2026. It's going to springboard her into change, immediacy, and change in the news and policy decision making, and very much plan her in the news cycle for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
It does tremendous damage for Rachel Sheridan. Rachel Sheridan's about to be the second Board of Visitors member fired in UVA history. Does damage for Porter Wilkinson.
Yeah.
Ladies, resign before you get fired. Does it do damage for Jim Ryan? I think it does. It doesn't do damage for Paul Manning. I mean, he says this, Deep Throat, personally, I'm going to give a hell of a lot more credence to Paul Manning, a guy throwing hundreds of millions of dollars at UVA out of the goodness of his heart, than I would to Jim Ryan or even Harmeet Dillon.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. Paul Manning, and I've been told they watch the program from time to time. I'm not saying it's every day. I will say this. Paul Manning's contributions to UVA will far outweigh in legacy and history and remembrance than Jim Ryan's ever will.
Yeah.
Paul Manning has got $100+ million at the biotechnology school. His name and his footprints are all over this university. You have to think Paul Manning is on the Mount Rushmore of the University of Virginia. That Mount Rushmore of University of Virginia, what is it? Thomas Jefferson, right?
Yeah.
John Castine, a president of the UVA 2 presidents ago.
Yeah.
What? Jaffrey Woodruff, friend of the program, who's donated more money behind the scenes than anyone in University of Virginia history, and it's not even close. The only reason you don't know about this is because he chooses not to put his name on anything. The complete opposite MO of what Mr. Manning is doing.
Yeah.
Probably the 4th one on the Mount Rushmore is it Mr. Manning? Is it Paul Manning?
Could be.
I mean, some people would say maybe it's a basketball coach like Tony Bennett or a basketball player like Ralph Sampson. But your 4 first, whether you agree with this or not, it's Thomas Jefferson, John Castine, Jaffrey Woodruff, Paul Manning. Then your last bus. How many are on Mount Rushmore? I should know that, Judah. How many are on Mount Rushmore?
There are 4.
Okay, so that's all the bus, right? If we wanted to do another one, would it be 5? George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Teddy Roosevelt, and Abe Lincoln. Surrounded by the beauty of the Black Hills of South Dakota. The Mount Rushmore National Memorial. A massive sculpture carved into Mount Rushmore in the Black Hills region of South Dakota, completed in 1941 under the direction of Gutzon Berglund. Why can't these names just be like Tom Jones or Tom Smith?
It'd be impossible to look
Harmeet
up.
Dillon. What's that?
And it'd be impossible to look up.
That's fair. You're saying it allows us to have an easy Google search?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Viewers and listeners, let us know your thoughts. Comments are coming in quickly. If you have some comments you'd like for me to relay on air, put them in the feed, and I'll mention them for the viewers and listeners that are watching our fine and fair talk show. Conan Owen, why should they care if Spanberger fires them? Their professional achievements far exceed being a political pawn on the UVA soap opera. They should stand up for themselves. Won't be a great look for the new governor either. I get your side, Conan. Here's the opposite side to it. Anytime Rachel Sheridan's name is going to be Googled, and Google is the world's history book, it's going to show the top link on her search is fired from Board of Visitors. And that impacts people, and especially people in clout and wealth and power. She has an opportunity, Rachel Sheridan, for the top link when anyone in her family tree, generations from now, should they search her name on the interwebs, I don't even know if we're going to be even using the internet 3 generations from now. Maybe you're tapping your temple and it shows up from a contact lens that's on your eye. Who knows, right? Okay? She has an opportunity to include the top link, the meta, to influence the top link on search, the metadata, and what it reads about her. And if she leaves it up to Abigail Spanberger, it's going to say fired, as opposed to, if she does it, resigned. Conan Owens says Frank Batten should also be on the list. Frank Batten's a powerful player, too. Janice Boyce Trevelyan watching the program. Her photo on screen. Jim Ryan is also under the microscope of the trial coming up since he has refused to release reports for years and release them redacted. I think he comes across as shady, Janice Boyce Trevelyan says. She's referencing the triple murder and the redacted reports and the fact that the public doesn't know what's happening. More importantly, the parents of the murdered football players don't know what's happened.
Yeah.
She also says, I'd make Spanberger fire me if I'm in the right and know what I did as far as Jim Ryan is concerned. So she's of the Conan Owen mindset. Fire me.
That's fair. And in defense of Janice and Deep Throat, I think that waiting to be fired could come across as not admitting to guilt. Like if you resign, it could be seen as, I know what I did and I'm going to step down before I'm fired. Whereas waiting to be fired could be, like, I know what I did, I'm fine. If you want to fire me, come and get me.
Okay, so that's another question here. So you're saying someone who's fired looks less shady than someone who resigns?
Different people are going to see it different ways.
But is that what you're saying?
But that is one way of looking at it.
If that's what you're saying, what did Jim Ryan do?
What did Jim Ryan do in terms of
He resigned.
He resigned?
If based on your theory, Janice Boyce Trevelyan's theory, Conan Owens' theory,
that's a different case.
How is it a different case? He resigned. He didn't get fired.
It's a different case because he resigned thinking that was going to, at least by his account, his resignation and his deciding to resign early was a bid to protect UVA from further heat.
From losing federal funding from the Trump administration.
Yeah.
That's why he said he resigned.
Mm-hmm.
But if Jim Ryan thought he was in the right, he would have waited to get fired and figured out a way to maintain that federal funding. And the alumni is certainly wealthy enough to do that.
But in his letter, he was arguing that he was receiving conflicting messages, but largely one of the consistent messages was if the DOJ wants you out, they don't trust you with the DEI initiatives, and if you step down now, like post haste, like today or tomorrow, then the DOJ will step back from their investigations.
His words.
I know.
His words.
That's all we have to go by.
His words. Right. I get that. Deep Throat makes this point. Do you trust someone like Paul Manning, who's donated $100 million plus to UVA in driving the entire emergence of a new economic sector, biotechnology? Or do you trust an individual who for the next 14 months is getting paid his $1 million presidential salary for not really working much at all? I will say this. If 99.9% of us, if we were Jim Ryan and we were paid $1 million plus for 14 months, when a large portion of that 14 months was also our vacation time and our personal leave time, we would all take that too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to hold him, I'm not going to hold a retirement or severance package, whatever you want to call it, an exit package against Jim Ryan. Wild times to be following what is often seen as the number one public university in the country. Absolutely wild time. Mm-hmm. And I just don't see a solution in sight until Abigail Spanberger nukes this board.
I mean, it's almost a foregone conclusion.
Yeah. And I'll close with this. I'd expect a lot more fireworks over the holidays and into the new year, ladies and gentlemen. So giddy up and get ready. Mm-hmm. Tina White, Breeden, and Venice Parkhill, thank you for watching the program. Logan Wells, Clay Lowe, and Randy O'Neill, thank you for watching the program. All right, it's 1:17. We got to go to the next topic. I have a phone call at 1:30 with a investment group that's looking to purchase a prominent local business and is looking for some funding and counsel. Next topic, what do we got, Judah Wickower?
We got Dino.
I mean, how about the Dino news? The Dino news is awesome. I mean, yeah. Dino is now taking over Miranda's Grill in Greene County. Miranda's Grill closed because the previous owner just basically didn't pay her meals taxes. And that's a big-time crime. Miranda Durer Davis, because you collect the meals taxes in advance from your customers. When you pick that receipt up, there's like 12%, roughly 12% of your bill is tied to taxes. Mm-hmm. That's before the tip, 12%. And a lot of that 12% is tied to the taxes, meals tax, for your local jurisdiction. You collect that money in advance with the expectation you will pay that money or pass it on to the jurisdiction. You're basically a middleman or liaison for the tax money.
Yeah.
That's all you are. And Miranda Durer Davis, Greene County General District Court presiding judge Kenneth Sneatherin found in favor of the landlord because they were behind on rent, and even worse on being behind on rent with the landlord is they were behind on tax allocation to Greene County. Miranda Durer Davis specifically on the taxes. Her future as a restaurateur, and I think this is the second one she's gotten in hot water on. Damn. Second location. Now Dino takes Miranda's Grill and is going to turn it into a wood-fired pizza joint. And he very quietly has become perhaps the most prolific restaurateur in town. Now I have a correction. The Facebook page Cheers VA, which follows craft beer in the Commonwealth, is watching the show. And Cheers VA knows craft beer like the Pope knows holy water. They said, Jerry, Dino is no longer at John Craig's Patch Brewery. Patch Brewery now owned by John Craig by himself. Andre Xavier not a partner in Patch Brewery, just John Craig. He says Dino is no longer at Patch. Not sure why that did not last long, but it was a relocation. But he is at Unionville. Janice Boyce Trevelyan brought this to my attention. I trust her. Dino's is at Unionville Brewing Company. But not at Patch. So thank you for letting us know that's in Unionville. So we now have Dino with wood-fired pizza at Dairy Market, rotisserie chicken at Dairy Market.
Yeah,
that's 2. The Moo-Through at Dairy Market, the Basta Pasta at Dairy Market. Yeah. He's a partner in the Cumbre at Dairy Market. I believe in very behind the scenes, fashion. He's the owner of the burger joint. Is it Sizzle Shack at Dairy Market? He's the owner of the Sizzle Shack.
Wow.
At Dairy Market. He's got a pizzeria in Fluvanna County. You're going to have to help me count these, okay? Let's figure out these together, okay? I'm losing count here. Okay, Dino's wood-fired pizza is 1. Dino's rotisserie chicken is 2. Moo-Through is 3. Basta Pasta is 4. Sizzle Shack is 5. Cumbre at Dairy Market, he's a partner, that's 6. Fluvanna County Pizzeria is 7. Greene County Pizzeria is 8. And Unionville Brewing Company is 9. Dino's got 9 points of sale right now And that's just off the top of my head. Granted, I follow this very closely. 9 points of sale in food and beverage.
Yeah.
In an economic time, in an economic climate where no one is expanding food and beverage. And in an economic climate where Wendy's and Burger King, to put it into perspective, are closing hundreds of stores. You're looking at maybe your most prolific restaurateur in the Charlottesville area. The only one that I can think of that may be able to compete with Dino
It's Ashy.
is Kid Ashy, friend of the program, client of the program, one-time tenant of the program. Help her broker a number of restaurant purchases, Kid Ashy, including one that's on the near horizon. It's not my business to announce when this new restaurant opens, but I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. I wish I can figure that out. Let's see if I can. Kid Ashy, Charlottesville. I wish there was a spot on one of our websites where all of the restaurants were listed. She's got, she's got Monsoon on Market Street, right? Can you write these down, Judah?
Yeah.
Monsoon on Market Street. She's got a Monsoon in Madison, Wisconsin. So that's 2. She's got a partner in that one. That's 2. She's got Pineapple's Thai Kitchen. That's 3. She's got Coconut Thai Kitchen in Crozet. That's 4. She's got Tangerine's Kitchen in the old Croby's location. We helped her buy the Croby's restaurant as a broker that deal. Mm-hmm. How many is that?
That is 5.
Okay. She's got Camellia's, where the old Millie Joe's Coffee was, right across from Albemarle County Office Building. She's got a Camellia's Bakery and Coffee Shop next to Guajiros. That's another one. Mm-hmm. She's got one coming in the UVA area. That's not my announcement to make, but you can put that down. She's got Maple Pine on Pantops next to Dardental Park. You don't have that on the list, right?
No, not yet.
Maple Pine. How many is that?
Let's see, we got 9.
How many?
9.
Is that exactly what Dino has?
Yep.
You're looking at your 2 most significant restaurateurs in the Charlottesville area, Kit and Dino. Mm-hmm. Your 2 most significant restaurateurs, influential, impactful, significant restaurateurs in the area are the embodiment of the American dream.
Yeah.
Talented, intelligent, hardworking, connected, visionary people not born on U.S. soil, coming to the United States of America with a dream of building a business, starting in the back of the house at restaurants. Kit as a back of the house server, runner, do jack of all trades at Monsoon, and Dino at the College Inn in the kitchen washing dishes. Literally, that's how he started in restaurants. The College Inn on the UVA corner, Dino. And now someone that goes from running the dish pit at the College Inn and someone that's running, doing anything for anyone and everyone at Monsoon and Kit Ashy, they each own 9 restaurants. Mm-hmm. Annie McClure in the 3rd slot, who just opened the Jervy, most known for Citizen Burger Bar on the downtown mall, which we helped launch. I have goosebumps on my body. I swear to God. Right now. And the goosebumps I have on my body are over the story. And you're rotating lower thirds on screen, right? Mm-hmm. The goosebumps that I have on my body are literally, ladies and gentlemen, about a woman from Thailand who comes to Charlottesville to work in a kitchen at Monsoon, who puts in the effort and now has 9 restaurants, and a gentleman from Eastern Europe who comes to Charlottesville and works at a Dish Pit at the College Inn that now has 9 restaurants.
Yeah.
Bill McChesney, Dino is no longer at Pro Renata. He was at Pro Renata at one time.
Mm-hmm.
James Watson's exactly right. Papito's Pizza is also expanding in this economic climate. Papito's opening a new restaurant in the old Mono Loco spot. And they have the Rio Hill location. Very interestingly and coincidentally with this story, they purchased the Rio Hill spot from Dino when it was the brick oven. Unbelievable story. All right, 1:27, I have a phone call in 2 minutes. My phone is now off airplane mode. I'm going to put my earbud in my phone, so when this phone call rings, I'll be notified. But I still have now 2 minutes to offer more commentary. Last topic, what do we got, Judah Wickera?
We got a change for Plaza Azteca.
All right.
Rebranding.
Put this, this is on the Charlottesville subreddit. Coden Owen also texted that to me. Plaza Azteca is rebranding as
Mexico Viejo.
Mexico Viejo. Plaza Azteca is a big chain in Virginia, a Mexican restaurant chain.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that it's rebranding as Mexico Viejo, which means Old Mexico,
yeah,
means that whoever was running this location, it would lead us to believe they had beef with Plaza Azteca corporate.
Yeah.
And because they had beef with Plaza Azteca corporate, they said, to hell with you guys. We don't want the corporate support. We don't want the brand recognition. We don't want the institutional knowledge. We're going to do this on our own, and we're not going to pay you the fees. Now we have Mexico Viejo, and that is a massive restaurant with obscene overhead. And that's why when you go there and you're a family of 4, like my wife and I with 2 kids, our bill was like $140.
Yeesh.
And all we had was a round of drinks, food, etc.
Yeah.
But $140. Gone are the days where you could go in with like $40, husband and wife and 2 kids, and leave with a bill of like 33 and put 2 20s on the table.
Yeah. And from what it sounds like, the prices have gone up even further since the rebrand.
I can't imagine with the overhead tied to the rent with that location. Is that the old Mavericks location? No, that's the old Outback location.
No.
Which one is it? The old...
I'm trying to remember where it's moved.
They used to be the old Mavericks location.
It used to be, but Plaza Azteca has moved away from there. That's now the what is it, Piers?
Oh yeah, the seafood.
Yeah,
Yeah,
seafood
north
place.
of Barracks Road. You know, north of Barracks Road. All
This
right, I got 30
is-
seconds here. In fact, I'm getting the phone call right now. The last topic I want to talk about is I'm going to talk about this on the Jerry and Jerry show with Jerry Hootie Ratcliffe tomorrow at 10:15 a.m. You could close the show with the commentary. You close the show. 10:15 a.m. tomorrow, I'm going to have this topic on the show. When is the last time the football and basketball team have both been this dominant at the exact same time? 10:15 a.m. tomorrow with the Jerry and Jerry show. Virginia Sports Hall of Famer Jerry Ratcliffe. Judah Wickauer is going to close the program on a one-shot with him as I take this phone call. Hello, this is Jerry.
I don't have much to close the show with except to let you know that Plaza Azteca, which is now rebranding as Mexico Viejo, is currently in the former Applebee's spot on Branchlands, just by the Food Line. So take that as you will. Have a wonderful afternoon.